For the past 3 weeks, we've talked about how together we are stewarding God's mission within the life of this congregation. Just last week, we explored how we nurture our connection to one another relationally through thick and thin. 2 weeks ago, we explored how we reach out externally to our neighbors here in Muscatine and beyond. And way back in the beginning, we explored how we continue to share the story of Jesus internally amongst ourselves, even when it means that we need to utilize digital platforms.
But now that we've remembered our collective story, let's think about you in your daily life. Because the truth is, we spend the majority of our time outside the confines of church Zoom calls and outside the walls of this building. Our lives take us beyond this community. If we've learned anything in 2020, it's that the mission of Jesus is not dependent on the four walls of church buildings. Rather, the mission of Jesus lies within each of us. As we take up the call to be stewards of the abundant grace that God has given us. In the way we live, not only when we're at church, but every single day of our lives. It's in those everyday moments that you are being called to be a steward of God's grace. And you are being challenged to be who God created you to be.
God's grace is bursting through you, even in daily life. There is nothing that can stop God's grace from permeating every ounce of your life. And there is nothing that can stop God's mission from flowing through each of you. As an extension of this community of faith, God's grace is just that pervasive. Refusing to be contained to one part of our lives or one place where we gather for worship, service, and fellowship. So, let's think about you. God's grace is moving pervasively in, around, and through you, all-consuming. So, in your daily life, are you willing to be a steward of God's grace?